We are now live, everyone.
Hey, we are live. My name is Evan, and I am always blessed to be a part of these conversations. We are here with Daniel Horine, the art and creator and owner of Pop Pop Shot. Say hi, Daniel.
Hey, everyone.
And of course, the guy who needs no introduction, the three-time All-Star Cy Young, even got some MVP votes as the starting pitcher with I Love, Hall of Famer Fergie Jenkins. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Hey, guys. Pleasure. All right.
So, Mr. Jenkins, what was your reaction hearing some guy wants to can picture you at a comic book style cover?
I was kind of surprised, and when I seen the cover and what they did for the highlighting of it, I said that should work.
Did you have any connection with comics? Maybe when you were a kid, what was 10-year-old Fergie Jenkins into?
I wasn't into comic books, that's for sure. I was into sports. My son Raymond, when I used to do memorabilia card shows, I got him quite a few comics. Batman, Superman, that type. Oh, and I think one was called the Phantom comic books when they first came out.
Okay, awesome. Daniel, if you could show the cover so everyone can see it, and if you're new, maybe you're just a huge fan of Fergie Jenkins and this is new to you, this is called Popfly Pop Shop, and these are, it's a cover only, so it's not an actual comic book, but they are only available for 1 week. You can buy it on popflypopshop.com. It is retired on Sunday forever. And you also have the incredible opportunity to get a Hall of Famer signature on it. So everyone will be signed by Daniel. But for an upgrade fee, you can get Fergie Jenkins himself to autograph it. That's extremely difficult to get at shows. The lines are crazy. So Daniel, what led you to use Mr. Jenkins here as your 50th issue?
Well, it was the fact that one of your nicknames, Fergie, is Fly is totally a coincidence. But I love the Pop Fly and Fly being the 50th. But when the great baseball book is written, Fergie Jenkins has his chapter, just a dominating pitcher back in the day, and just a memorable character. It just fit right in with the whole Pop Fly story.
Well, I'm glad you chose him. It's always fun to do a Cub to America's team. In fact, if you have your own question you'd like to submit to Fergie Jenkins, just go ahead and put that in the chat right now. And the very first listener question we ask is going to get what prize, Daniel?
A Pop Fly.
A Pop Fly. There you go. You and Daniel can work that out together. Now, Daniel, you taught me something, as you always do, about these incredible players, is the Canadian references on the issue threw me for a loop because, I knew Fergie Jenkins was never an Expo or a Blue Jay. Mm-hmm. And can you unpack for everyone the connection there?
Sure. Well, Fergie, the first Canadian in the Baseball Hall of Fame, just researching and learning more about your background, Fergie, seems like just where you come from is just really important to your identity, and it's something that comes up a lot. So I really wanted to pay homage to your background there, and if you notice there, the price of the comic there is 71 cents, but that's in Canadian money, Canadian dollars. Underneath it, it's got the U.S. exchange rate, and it's got a maple leaf there in the top left, and international phenom. So Canada felt very much a part of the Fergie story. So it was seemed important to him, and so it was important to me to include it as well.
So Fergie Jenkins, how does a Canada boy go from hockey into the MLB? How does that happen?
Well, I got noticed first playing hockey as a youngster at the age of 15. Gene DeJura was the area scout that was a school teacher in my hometown. And he got me to the point where the idea of me playing baseball was a sport that I played in the summertime. And I wasn't really into baseball that much. But he changed my idea from being a first baseman to try to pitch. And lo and behold, pitching was the vocation that I took upon myself to really learn the game. And at the age of 15 and 16, I started to pitch, And within 2.5, 3 years, I signed a pro contract with the Philadelphia ball club, and the rest is history.
Wow. Was hockey your first love athletically?
Oh yeah, when I grew up, the Montreal Canadiens were the team that I followed the most. I shouldn't say we call them the Habs, but they were the team. And Doug Harvey was a great defenseman, and I played defense as a youngster when I did play hockey.
Did you carry that sort of hockey tough guy mentality on the mound? Did that serve you well?
Well, I always tried to stay ahead of the hitter. I don't know if I was a tough guy or not, but I worked both sides of the plate. I didn't let people crowd the plate. If you had to knock somebody off the plate, with my control, I wasn't going to hit anybody in the head, maybe in the hip, shoulder. So I just let people know that I was out there trying to win a ball game and trying to do the best job I could.
Well, I loved when you welcome Larry Walker into the Hall of Fame. Again, I love this idea of a Canadian just thriving in baseball. I see 3 current MLB players that are Canadian that I have a good shot at the Hall of Fame. Why don't you tell me if I'm crazy or not, Mr. Jenkins? Joey Votto, is he in?
Oh yeah, Joey's he'll be first ballot once he retires. The way he's been playing now, he changed his batting stance, and he's become a home run hitter. He was always a good defensive player. He had a good batting average. I think he wanted 1 or 2 batting titles. So I think that Joey Votto has got a very, very, very good opportunity to be a first ballot individual.
Freddie Freeman, I didn't know was Canadian.
Who knows how Freddie's going to go? He's young right now. He hasn't played that much in the big league. So he's just starting off. So it could be a stepping stone for him to really get established, and who knows.
And then very young, long road ahead, but Vlad Jr., of course.
Oh yeah, I think that, like anything, once you get established in the big leagues and put some numbers up, people will start recognizing you as a major league player, and let's hope that your career is going to be long. The big thing that I've told a lot of people, and Larry Walker, myself, we didn't get hurt. We stayed off the injury list. If you're going to put numbers up, you got to go to the plate. You got to go to the mound. You got to stay healthy, and that's what I think Joey Votto's done. That really proficiency right now. He is a healthy player. He's really played well.
See, you're talking like a tough man Canadian hockey player. Stay off the injured list.
The biggest thing is don't get hurt. Continue to play, and let's hope the numbers will come your way. And that's what it takes. I mean, you can't put the big numbers up if you're on the DL.
Yes. Talking to Fergie Jenkins, a Hall of Famer, obviously. Daniel, if you could show the cover again. Besides the Canadian influence, the big red box, the stricken by grief, gilded in glory, where did that come from?
That was I think the title that was given to me when they put this movie together. It's a 90-minute movie of basically of my life, the early part of my career, and some of the different tragedies that I went through.
And Daniel, how did that resonate with you?
I thought a lot about that, because there's the on-field accomplishments, and then there's real life, but I think that's what I wanted to include here, that I proposed to include here, is just the story of just, Fergie, your life and the hardships and being able to see through them and go through them. And it was just really, really inspiring. And so as I kept designing this for a career kind of highlight, there was just the life highlight that I felt was just important as the story of like Fergie as a hero as a whole. And so that's why I wanted to include it here.
And Fergie Jenkins, there's a documentary on your life. I haven't seen that yet. I'd like to. Can you share your thoughts on that? Were you happy with how it was done?
Well, the documentary was done in about a good 6 to 7 months, and it portrayed different things that happened to me. losing my mother early when she was 52 years old, died of cancer. And then I lost my second wife in a car accident. And just things that highlighted athletes. A lot of times they don't get publicized. So in my case, they wanted to put this documentary together of things that happened outside of the game, which I think is important.
I think so. If I can jump in here too, I think that's really what like inspired me and wanted to really highlight you here, just as a person, as a human, that you as a hero, as an athlete, as a public figure, are willing to be vulnerable, and you know, and share. You know, it's not always popular or cool or whatever you want to call it to especially as a man, say, yes, you know, this, I hurt, this hurts, you know, I needed help, you know. So for you to be able to do that, I think it was a great service to a lot of other folks who might be in a tough spot as well. So it inspired me, and just very grateful that you would be willing to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, Daniel, on that note, I loved your the actual cover. Your covers always have a nice like aged look to it. But you mentioned to me this one is a little bit more weathered. Can you share the symbolism there?
Yeah, it was just kind of part of that life. It's not all glorious highlights and flashy moments. You know, it's a worn cover, and it's been through it. You know, and the Fergie story is you know, it's tough. It's tough to, and that's putting it extremely lightly. And so I just wanted to reflect some of that feeling of that hardship and toughness. You know, they talk about that Canadian toughness, that toughness here. So that's why this one is a little bit more aged and worn and well loved than some of the other ones.
Well, if you would like to get one of these weathered Fergie Jenkins pop flies, they are at popflypopshop.com. I really highly recommend getting the autograph version, because how hard is it to get a Hall of Famer to sign something? And wow, this issue to me, it's not just a cool cover. Then it's an encouragement in life to say, if you're in the middle of a storm, see it through the end. And speaking of seeing it through the end, as I look through your career, Fergie Jenkins, I loved your ability to throw complete games, something that is a complete lost art today. Can you talk about that mentality, and what is your feeling of that just not happening anymore?
Well, the category of complete games is pretty much lost, as you said. I had a pretty good manager in Leo DeRocher, and he was an individual that, if he thought that you were in control of the game, he was going to leave you out there and continue to pitch. I wasn't a bad hitter. One year I led the league in sacrifice bunts, but putting the ball in play was something that I was able to do, because I signed as a pitcher first baseman, but never got the opportunity to play any first base. But in the minor leagues, I hit pretty good, and I think that continued to I think follow me as I played in the big leagues, because some of the individuals I pitched against, you know, Seaver, Gibson, Drysdale, Carlton, they weren't about to let another pitcher get hits. And, I was kind of a first ball hitter. When they tried to get ahead of me, I tried to put the ball in play, and I think the one year I hit 6 home runs. I hit a total of 13. Something like I'm not sure. Well, the one year I had 84 at bats, I think, or 85 at bats, and I had 20 RBIs. So I would go to the plate, try to put the ball in play, and if someone had a runner on, I tried to drive him in.
Yeah. Well, yes, you're a great hitter, but let's not undervalue your pitching ability, and that's what you finish the games with. And again, to make sure our listeners don't shortchange the ridiculousness of this, you had 267 complete games. I mean, I'm picking out who are the big three dogs, even nearing the end of their careers right now. Verlander, Kershaw, and Scherzer. Verlander has 26 lifetime complete games. Kershaw's 25, and Scherzer's 12. That's like an okay year for you.
Yeah, Yeah, I know one year, I think it was my Cy Young year, I had 39 starts, 30 complete games.
Oh,
I just like to pitch. The biggest thing is when you go out there, you always try to accomplish and finish what you start. Now, my mother used to always say that. If you got the opportunity to start it, finish it. And as I said, I stayed healthy most of my career, and I think this is the reason why I had so many complete ball games.
Let's talk about your connection in Chicago and Wrigley. I mean, that's a tough franchise to be at the top of the Mount Rushmore because they've had so many incredible people go through there. Ernie Banks, one of the best that you played with. This might be groundbreaking. The first time it could be publicly announced. Are you able to talk about something that might be happening in Wrigley very soon involving you?
Well, yes, the owner of the ball club got a hold of me 5-6 months ago and gave me the surprising news that they were going to put a statue portraying me as a Chicago Cub. You know, Ernie Banks and I roomed together the last 3 years he played, 67, 8, and 9. There's a statue of Billy Williams, Fano, and Harry Carey. So out of the 4 individuals, I'm going to be the 5th.
Wow.
I'll be the 4th player someplace on one of those streets, Sheffield, Waveland, Clark, or Addison. So I'm not sure when it's going to happen in the year 2022, but I'm looking forward to it.
You all hear that? We broke it. We broke the news here. Fergie Jenkins statue by Wrigley. I mean, we love Dawson. He's one of ours. We love Sandberg and Maddox. But this is the statue that they're building. And Daniel, can you go ahead and show the cover and point out the connection there?
I'm not sure. Do we know what the pose is going to be, Fergie, for the?
The pose is going to be the Sports Illustrated cover, 1971.
Okay, great. I'm glad you said it because that's what I included there at the bottom left there as a tribute to that statue and just as a little Easter egg for the Cubs fans who get to go out there and actually see the statue. There's that.
The nice thing about
pose.
it is that that pitching motion portrays the Chicago Cub logo of the shirt and also the Cub logo on the hat. So that was a kind of significant picture that they picked out, and I agreed to it.
Were you able to choose your the pose?
Well, they had 4 or 5 different poses, but as I said, they didn't have the logo significantly shown. So that I think that the biggest thing with a follow through in other pictures, it really didn't show the Cub logo on the uniform, but this one did.
What an honor. I can't wait to get there and take a picture with it. And maybe I'll bring my Pop Fly signed by you with me.
All right.
Did you watch the Field of Dreams game last week? And did you hear are you going to be involved maybe next year? The Cubs are going to be playing it.
Yeah, I seen the game of the Yankees and the White Sox. I had a chance. I've been in Dyersville 3 times. I did it with Mudcat Grant and Reggie and Bob Gibson, Lou Brock. We walked through the corn.
Wow.
We were kind of the first ones to do it. But we played the Ghost, the team called the Ghost, which was a lot of fun. And then I was there doing a charity event when they had, I think about 5-6 years ago, Little League would come there and play, but they had significant rains. So they wanted to put on a charity showing that they would raise money to keep this field going.
Wow.
The original field.
Wow.
And I was part of that.
Wow. I'd love to see that going on next year. What a cool connection and opportunity for Chicago and for MLB. Again, we got Fergie Jenkins here, Hall of Famer. Go to popflypopshop.com. There you can buy a print. Can you show that one more time, Daniel? It's only available until Sunday. And there is an option to get an autograph. Go ahead and get that. You will not regret it. You got the fly, the W all connected with each other. Maybe if we could kind of round out your baseball career. The romance to me is awesome of you going back to Chicago at the end of your career. Can you talk about, was that important to you? Was that just happenstance? How did that come about?
Well, I was with the Rangers, basically the latter part of me being 36, 37 years old. And when I got a hold of the Cubs, and Dallas Green, that at the time was the general manager, wanted to know significantly, like, can you still pitch? And I said, well, yeah, I can still pitch. Coming back to Wrigley Field is where it all started. I was 38 years old. I pitched till I was 40, the last 2 years there. And I think the nice thing about it is the Cubs fans welcome me back as an athlete. I won quite a few games in the last couple of seasons. And I enjoyed my time coming back there. 10 years as a Chicago Cub.
Wow. Again, you're shortchanging yourself. 1982, a romantic farewell tour. You threw a 3.15 ERA. That's not like send you off into the sunset. That's a top of the rotation pitcher. By the way,
fortunate enough that I had good defense behind me. I had some great players.
You are so humble. You're constantly lifting other people up. By the way, one of my mentors, Dr. Joe Grana, loved watching you pitch in Wrigley. He sends his love to you. Maybe I'd love to get your thoughts on kind of sad watching the Cubs break up their possible dynasty there. They got a ring, which that's enough for a lot of Cubs fans, obviously. Any regret there? Did they miss out on an opportunity to do more than one? Was it sad for you to watch them kind of break up the boys?
You know, once you win a championship, a lot of times a lot of the players are free agents, and they want to go to different significant places to play. The salary part of negotiating a lot of times will break up a ball club. They had quite a few free agents. They lost quite a few pitchers, and just this last year they lost 4 of their best players.
Yeah,
which they just went to other ball clubs, and unfortunately, you're looking at the Cubs now playing AA and AAA players that are trying to learn the game so that they can become winners. But as of right now, they're not doing it real good. They've lost like 12 in a row.
Yeah. There's always next year. Isn't that the Cubs saying?
At one time, that used to be their saying. The June swoon. They would come always in June. They would stop losing. And I think it happens. Every ball club that tries to rebuild with younger players, it's a 2 or 3 year span. If you're going to put players together, they got to learn how to play together, learn how to win. And especially Wrigley Field is a ballpark that's unforgiving. I mean, it's tough to pitch there with the wind blowing across or blowing out. So you got to understand what the game's all about when you play in Wrigley Field.
Well, you are a winner. You are a Hall of Famer, and we want to thank you so much for spending time with us today. Again, go to popflypopshot.com. Get the autograph one. Are you crazy? Just get it. Daniel, was there a question from the fans that you wanted to share? Oh, you're on mute.
I'm allowed one of those per day. There's a question from Seth Elkin here and I like the way he phrased it here. It's a question you've probably heard, but I like the phrasing here. It says, were there any other starting pitchers who you enjoyed going against where you felt extra motivation knowing that your teammates had a tough pitcher to face?
Well, probably the toughest pitcher against me was Bob Gibson. The Cub-Cardinal rivalry was always really, really tough. And I think that Bob Gibson was an outstanding pitcher. Unfortunately, he lost his life just a year ago to pancreatic cancer. But having him pitch against the Cubs and against Sano and Williams and Banks and Kessinger Beckert, he was a tough competitor. So if you're going to go out there to try to beat Bob Gibson, you better have your act together. I was very fortunate enough to probably pitch against him, well, about a dozen times. And I couldn't say how the outcome would be, but I beat him a few times.
Beat a lot of people more than a few times. Daniel, did you have anything else?
Let's see. Is there any other questions here? And I also like this one. And also, Seth, contact me afterwards. I'll get you your pop fly. And this one is My Ithaca says, is there a specific detail in the art print that intrigued you the most?
Well, they put the fly on the cover. Dick Raditz gave me that nickname. When he joined our ball club in 1966, there was a half a dozen guys who used to love to play cards. So I used to buzz around looking at all the hands of the players. But Dick Radis stood up, and he's 6'7", 6'8", 300 pounds, said, "Sit down, Fly." and it kind of hung on.
Nice. Well, Hall of Famer Fly, thank you so much for your time. I could do this all day, but I'm sure you have more important things to do. Thank you for your career, for your time, for your transparency. Everyone, go check out that documentary and learn how to weather the storm. Check out Pop Fly Pop Shop to get your own print, get it autographed. Thank you so much for your time today.
Pleasure. All right, guys.
All right, take care.
You're the same. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow, that was fun.
That's awesome.
Man, I wanted to keep going.
Serious.
So, man, did you notice, Daniel, how anytime we complimented him, he pushed it on to something else? It's so interesting to me.
Yeah, you think at that point in your career, you're Hall of Famer. You're like, yes, I have earned it. My place here on the mountain. But no, he's lifting everyone up.
You're one of the best pitchers of all time, complete games. Yeah, I had good defense around me. Like, oh, come on. You're Jenkins. That's why. Daniel, I'm so love that you chose this one. What led you to him? How did that align?
Just doing the research that I always do, and every week I'm just kind of got my tendrils and all of the kind of stories that I can find about baseball, and just learning about his journey and his story off the field. It was just really inspiring to me, and beloved player, first of all, just for all the reasons that you mentioned, but just what he's gone through and gotten through. I don't want to minimize it in any way to say that that I don't want to minimize his experience, but just the fact that he's here and the bright spirit that he is, it's just really inspiring. And like I mentioned when he was on the line, just at some point you need a little help.
Yeah.
And being able to have the courage or the strength to throw out that lifeline or ask for a lifeline, I think it's huge, and for guys especially, it's just not easy. For humans in general, it's not easy, but for guys especially, it's not easy. So to have a sports hero like that, like to tell his story openly and plainly, is very brave, and that kind of vulnerability is not something that you see in stars like that very often.
Yeah, definitely. I coach my son's little league team, and every now and then we get the one parent, right, who's like the stop, the man up, or like kind of mindset. Well, here is a Hall of Fame man who's saying life is hard sometimes, and yet you got to complete the game.
Yeah.
So this cover is a very inspirational and important cover that I love. You're having it be a little bit more weathered.
Cool. Yeah, and that's something that I look for too in this project. There's in baseball, there are good guys and there's bad guys and there's story arcs but for the most part, there's lots of good guys in baseball, and a lot of times, Fergie included, I try to find that inspiration, try to find that thing that makes them special, makes them inspiring, and find those quotes in the speech bubbles that encourage us to do better, to finish the game or whatever it is, So that's something I always look for, and not only in stories, but even just the words that they say. I always take quotes that they have said and either put the direct quotes there or paraphrase them, but just elevate them and make them just as inspirational as I can. And Fergie, it needed no effort on my part to make him inspirational, because he very much was just a superhero.
So is there a sequence for you? Like, do you pick the player and then dig through their life and find the quote and the story, or do you find the quote and the story and that makes you land on the player?
It can go either way, with Fergie, I was like, okay, I'm going to do Fergie Jenkins, and I knew very little about his life. I knew some broad strokes, and I dug in. Like, that's when I found my story. And sometimes, like when the case of, I know I mentioned this, I feel like every other time, but the Mad Hungarian, I had it in mind to do him for a long time because I love the nickname, the Mad Hungarian, but I didn't know where to go with it. But then I saw this one quote. I only saw it appear in two different places, so it's not like this well publicized quote. But he talked about his ring, and his family heirloom from Dracula and whatnot. Like that's where I found my hook, in the quote, in the story afterwards. I kind of centered on like, okay, I want to do something with this character, but what? And then maybe they'll sort of just percolate for a while I just kind of search and just see what I can find. And then when I find like the right hook, like off to the races.
That's one of the things I love about this project, Daniel, is look, he's going to do Griffey at some point. Like he'll come, like we all want it, but you're also teaching us baseball where, Fergie retired when I was like 3 or 4. And so I didn't have a personal connection to his career, but I've enjoyed looking into it. And we're messing on the Facebook page for Pop Fly Pop Shop. At the Field of Dream game, the announcer throws out a Man Hungarian reference. Mm-hmm. I would have never caught that a couple years ago. And my wife and I look at each other. We're like, hey, Mad Hungarian. So you are equipping us.
I am learning myself. I know Griffey, I know Ripken, yes, but there are. I had no idea who Big Clue was before I started this project, and there's other players that weren't even on my radar in any way, and so it was just fantastic to just learn myself, So I'm learning right there with you.
All right, as I awkwardly see my son behind me. Popflypopshop.com is where you can get this incredible print. If you could throw that up again, and if you are unfamiliar with the rhythm of how this works, they are only available for 1 week and then they are retired forever. So this Sunday is when this one will be retired forever. You must get it before then. There is an autograph option. Go ahead and go to the website and check that out. Daniel, can you give us any clues or hints of what's coming up next in the world of Pop Fly Pop Shop?
Actually, no, I can't. I know that you always ask, and part of the reason, actually, I will backtrack a little bit. For Fergie, there is a Pop Fly collecting community on Facebook. For the first time in all 50 of these that I've done, I shared who I was going to do in advance, and I walked through the process of this with Fergie. So. It's a small group. Feel free to join it if you're interested. But for the first time, I wanted to just kind of pull back the curtain a little bit and to show the process. And it's not always easy. It's rarely easy, and a lot of just exploration. That's why one of the many reasons I haven't done it before is just because it's so organic. I might spend all week on one player and then decide, oh, I'm going to shift gears and do something else because something else, inspired me. And so, but this is the first time I've ever said it ahead of time for Fergie, but and maybe the last time because I'm not going to share who's in the works yet, just because of the organic nature, and anything can happen.
Is there I think you've only done one active player, Trout. Is that difficult to try to communicate with an active player? Would that have to be an off-season experience?
I don't know. I would imagine it would be, but I've never really explored it. So I would imagine that it would be to try to get on Otani's radar, like me and everyone else. Sure.
Oh man.
So I'd love to at some point. Work with active players, but to be honest, I think the sweet spot of the project is the retired players and the players that maybe aren't as well known as other players or that we've forgotten about or are finding those stories. So though, a current player is interesting, it's not necessarily the sweet spot of the project.
Awesome. Well, once again, popflypopshop.com. There you can reserve one of these. It is only available until Sunday. Notice there is an add-on where you can guarantee yourself a Hall of Fame signature. And man, those, you just never know how hard those can be to get at shows, through the mail. Just save yourself the tension and the hassle. Just get it now. Daniel, any last words for your fans?
This is number 50 for me, and I can't believe it. And so I'm appreciative of everyone who's been with me for the journey for these last 50. When I first started this, I thought, maybe I can get to 50 and stop, and do something else. But here I am at 50, and it feels like I'm just getting started. So just thank you, and it's been a blast, and the best is still ahead of us. I'm sure.
Awesome. We'll get this one. Fly the W. See the statue. We broke the news here. Hope to see everyone soon. Thanks for your time, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.